to Reframing Mindset podcast. We are clear my head of the thoughts that are preventing clarity, practice my speech, among other things. Episodes range from informative knowledge to funny stories about my experiences, and in the future, maybe include interviews. So subscribe and enjoy. Episodes drop every other day.
Okay, welcome back to Reframe Mindset Podcast. This concept Brooks, and this episode is the October update. Uh, mm, yeah, bro. Yeah, the October updates, bro. Wow, it's a weird update. Oh my god. Wow. Actually, been working at this job for a year. That's the update. Oh, and that is actually an accomplishment. The last work technically was 11 months. I actually worked here for a year. And not only that, you know, the fact that I actually worked there for a year actually unlocked my ability to do certain things. Like, again, no. Yeah, so that's something now is like, the frame of perspective I talk about that once. It's good, it's assets. It's some sad times and you're actually going through some sad times. So you actually need things to help you keep track that you're on the right track. And what means that certain bad things happen and it's hard for you to actually see that you're on the right track. And what happens is that boom, certain things you need job security to unlock. And what happens is that you're you're looking at where someone is standing and not judging where they're coming from. So what happens is that, so as they're talking, listening, my grandmother always say, she lived her life, go ahead and live yours. That's what she always says. What happens is that when you pass and when the people you grow up with pass, it's like you can't realize that, they are live their life, bro. They're actually working towards what they're working towards. So that means what and that's the next level of believing in God in the sense that on the earth, there are things there. People come in and actually invent stuff and you're reaping the benefits from the things that they invent. And what happens is that but at the end of the day, you're working towards something. Boom, my grandmother come from a time where many of these stuff that, podcasts and all these stuff exist. So now I'm growing up. No, I grew up in a time with podcasts and all these stuff. I didn't even know that they exist either. And now I'm out here doing it. And, this work, never thought I would actually be doing it. And I'm actually doing it for a year. All these stuff, all these stuff. And what happened is that certain things are happening in all real world stuff, real world things are happening in real human stuff. And what happened is that it's hard to keep track to remember that okay, the people that want the best for you, that thing we realize that like when you have a child and stuff you want the best for them. So it's hard to understand when you're growing up, you want the best. So it's like, the inverse. You want the best for your family, but they want the best for you. So it's like, but you can never understand it until you become a person being a child. They can never understand it. So it's like one of those stuff. So like frame of perspective where you say I can never understand it until you actually live the experience and what happens is that boom. So I'm working here for a year and what happened is that now with this job security I still have the work and stuff and there's lots of stuff that comes with, and what that means that I unlock a lot of stuff. I unlock a lot of stuff. But not only that, I see a lot of people came in and came out, and I usually just be at the same place. They came in and they came out. And what happened is that, um, but there's some, and what happened is that from the group that actually started to work with, sometimes I go in and be like, oh my god, maybe they left, and then boom, I actually see some of them, but some of them I don't see again, and it's like, and that's the thing with the work. You go into this work with a bunch of people. I always have to focus on your part. I can just never tell, you know, and that's the thing, and that's the thing where when you actually apply for our work and you go into interview and stuff like that, they always well, from the previous experience I think they train you in groups, but you always have to remember your goal. So you're going with a group and all those stuff, but you always have to remember your goal of why you're actually going into the work. Because what happens is that just like school, university and stuff like that, you go in and you go in and you make friends and all these things. And then what happens is that boom, they go in, focus on the work, they top up the class and all these stuff, but you're focused on meanwhile they're balancing all these stuff. And you're just enjoying the bondage and all these stuff, but not realizing your goals. And so that's the next thing about freedom of perspective. You need to, there's nothing wrong with actually bonding and stuff like that, but remember that you're going to the work for a reason. And if you forget the reason, then you will basically out here get lost in the sauce and get lost in the sauce of the work. Get lost in the sauce of the work. So that's the thing we have to actually keep the job world, the working world is actually, when I think about it, actually a test the way how this is stuff, way this is stuff is actually really a test. And it's like if you're not prepared for it, it's actually yeah, it's one of those stuff, and it's really interesting. It's really interesting. So it's like, can never knock out the working world, bro. Yeah. Next thing is, bro, actually got the money back from the health insurance. It's actually working. Oh my god, bro. And what I actually got was a check, bro. Actually lodged a check. That's wild, bro. That's how old I'm getting, old school. Next thing you know, you're gonna hear me talking on the telephone. It's not gonna be a smartphone. You're gonna hear me talking on the telephone. Yeah, that's the next thing. Yeah, so it's like things are getting old school. I'm old school now, getting dealing with checks and all this stuff. At least for now. So it's like the insurance thing is actually working. So I'm actually going to try to leave my health. And this is the next phase of life where you're getting older and it's hard to tell. So you have your young beauty and all these stuff. But it's hard to tell if you're still in good health or not. That's the phase that I'm in now. Where it's hard to tell that I was on the right track. When I was younger I usually just do a lot of things and be like, oh my god, I'm young and healthy and all these stuff. I'm getting older now, and it's like, it's hard. I guess it's hard to tell to say, okay, I was on the right track. Know that you have to take your health serious and all of this stuff. It's hard to tell, say, oh, you on the right track and all these things for your age and all these, and not only that for your age, not only that for your age. It's also about, as in, boom. One of the things was that, at my grandma's 89th birthday, one of the things that she could always recall, I remember it was very sharp and all those, so I'm doing this work now, and the lack of sleep kind of get to me and all these things. But, at her age, she could recall a lot of stuff. But a couple years later, she got your memory loss and all these stuff. So it's like, boom, when a certain sickness comes, you have like family lineage sicknesses and all this stuff. When it comes, bro, it just comes, and that's the thing. It just comes. So it's like you could be this healthy one day and then boom. So it's hard to actually tell if you're on the right track in terms of your health and not. And that's why the things like health insurance are, hear me cover that. Why the things like health insurance and all these stuff actually becomes very important because at this phase of your life, no matter how you're high and mighty and all these stuff, any random sickness can just come in, and there are many sicknesses. You have STDs, the normal cold can get to you, and all these things. I'm working in the rain season now, a lot of rain and all these stuff. So it's like any sicknesses can get you. And the thing is that when you get older, you get the more those sicknesses affect you sadly. And ideally, I would want to change that. I would like, oh my God, stay healthy forever. But this is the reality. This is as far as I know. As far as I know, that's the limit of my reality at this point. As far as I know, in a different reality, in a richer reality, there could be very, very many advances, and it's like, oh yes, there's very, okay, that's my reality now. That's my reality now. Uh, yes. Next thing is, I did HIV test, and according to it, I'm HIV negative. Yay! Yeah, so that's the thing. So, and that's the next thing about working with. These are, as although most of these things are obvious, but these things seems like, it's good for me to mention. As a health person, trying to go into the science and all this. So boom, at this point, I see a few things like, people curing of AIDS, HIV, people curing of HIV and all these stuff. I see a few of them, but I've actually never seen it in person, so I can't assume. So the next thing is like, cancer and all these stuff. So the next thing is like what I would recommend, in this adult world to kind of just keep you safe from the. So boom, in the so boom, in the younger years, I would say like abstinence, and all these things. In university, boom, use condom and all these stuff, and HIV test if you actually can. But in the university, you're not actually not. You're actually living off your people's money. So it's like I would just recommend, just, not abstain all these. But in the adult world, bro, it's always wild, and in the working world and adult world, it's so wild and instantaneous. I recommend they get HIV testing, bro. Just to actually get your health. Just, yeah, I know these are advertisements and all these stuff. Yeah, but it's just to keep yourself safe. Uh, and what happening is that basically, in common sense terms, the HIV testing and all this stuff, it's just basically a way to fund the way to actually get the cure. I think, it, just like the cancer things and all these stuff. I think in a common sense term, in if they were, I think I'm not working in those industries yet, but that's one of those common sense things. I'd be like, okay, if you actually was doing the HIV thing, it was actually, it would be for actually um, funding the research to find the cure. That's the reason why they're like, reach so far to know what when you're gonna when you have HIV. That's so why that testing is done is to just keep you out of it. But natural human tendency to out there go wild and free and all those stuff. So HIV is still STDs are still prevalent to these days. So it's good, and That's the reason why it's yeah, yeah. That's the reason why in the working world now, you're out there working with a lot of different people. So it's like the natural tendency. You have to actually these are things you have to keep your mind focused. And it's like, you get lost in the sauce. Lost in the sauce, bro. And that's the next part of it. You see my grandmother and all these stuff retired, living her life, living her retired and all these stuff. This working phase between then and her retired years, she was she goes through a very more sickness and all that stuff, but all those lessons throughout these years is due to a lot of stuff. So it's like, religion in the workplace or stuff like that. Yeah, I said the it's it's actually good to actually mm, read those stuff, read the Bible, all these stuff for yourself. Health, the health stuff, everything is good to read for yourself so that you're knowledgeable of it. And sometimes what happens is that more people are knowledgeable of it than you, and they will use it uh, to your advantage. Just like in working world, almost. But it's good to be like, it's good to be the novice. Good to be the novice to be like, okay, I don't understand this. So let me take my time to understand it. And when you finally get it, then it becomes natural. It becomes natural. So when certain things start to be like, oh my God, bro, I'm not great at it. That's why you have things like job training. I'm not great at this. And slowly but surely, you get better and better, and then boom, it becomes natural. And then, yeah, so it's like that's why you're going to this work and you see a lot of beautiful people. But you don't know, you have to try to protect yourself again. So it's like in the adult world, you have to try to protect yourself again. So it's like it's it's hard, bro. I think always that natural sickness is gonna come from. So it's like it's hard to tell, bro. Some sad times, bro. Sad and very conflicted times, bro. Sad and very conflicted times. So it's like you can't just mhm. So it's like, yeah. The next thing, bro, sad thing again, bro. Oh my god, I lost my phone again. Oh my god, bro, I lost my phone. I sad thing, bro. Yeah, I lost it now. With I had a SD card in it, bro. So everything that was on the SD card is gone. So if I don't find it, it's gone forever, bro. But if I do find it, I would have faith. I would have faith in myself, bro. Faith that this world is actually getting better and not. Hmm. But it was actually due to my I said lack of sleep and and the bag and all this stuff. And it actually it was my fault. Because I actually lost not only the phone that they actually lost, a grocery that I actually bought. So it actually fell out of the bag. What I realized. So that bag was terrible, bro. That was a terrible purchase. That was an unquality purchase, bro. That bag was a very unquality purchase, bro. Mm. Yeah, I still have the bag, bro. Yeah. Mm. But the good thing is, I actually got back that I actually recouped my chip and get back my original number still. So that's one of those things where all the adult stuff now, I'm actually getting into it. I'm getting actually into the adult stuff, bro. Becoming a more adult stuff. Yeah. Hmm. And next thing is now, bro, I unlock the ability. So, I'm out here, unofficial homeowner right in this place. But boom, I unlock the ability to actually get another home. But the thing is that if I actually get that other home, I would have to pay mortgage and all these stuff and all these stuff. So that's the thing where it'd be like, that's the thing about you have to actually read those. So happens that I'm reaping the benefits of years before me, or putting years before me by my family before. I know I'm actually putting the work now, and in the future generation can actually reap from the work that I'm putting in now and stuff like that again. So the boom, boom, I unlock a home, the ability to get a home, and then boom, I'll get the home and then pay down on it and all these stuff. It, and then boom, future benefit. Yeah, so you have to actually be like, yeah, actually, sometimes it's hard to see what you're working towards, but you're working towards something, and it's hard to be like, get a frame of, talk about frame of perspective. Certain things don't happen before it's time, and that's the thing. You're out here and you're in the working world, and I've worked in two different many different environments. And what happens is that I see different phases of life. So what happens that one of the work is that I actually was working with someone that actually unlocked the home thing that I just unlocked recently. And what happened was that I'm getting her perspective on life. But now in another working world now. And I wasn't judging, and it's looking at where she's standing, be like, oh my gosh, she worked very hard just to get that first hole and all these stuff. But my I read from her, so you have to look on her experiences. But no, I'm in this new work now, and then there's another thing that I'm actually seeing all these times, and be like, oh my god, and it's hard to tell if I'm out here, if I'm out here in the right track again. So that's the thing where it'd be like, you know, in certain cases, you'll be like, oh my god, I'm doing very good for my age at work, and uh, the ability to get a home and all these stuff, looking at comparing to someone compared to someone else in certain cases. But then you look at other stuff, other situations, and when I be like, oh my god, bro, I can't believe, it's embarrassing to talk about that side of the thing. But not realizing, no, in actuality, you're in a certain phase. In a certain phase. So you can't go there, go compare yourself to someone else. You're out here living your life. So you have to actually just be like, okay, yeah, it's good to get those knowledge and all those stuff. But you out here have to live your life. You have to live your life. I make the right decisions and all those stuff. So it's like that's another phase of adulthood. We're not going to. It's October update, so I've got luckily if I make it, 28, bro, the 28th year. Oh my God, so much things can happen, bro. So much things can happen. But yeah, these are the realities. These are the realities of my yeah. Yeah, so it's a very conflicted time that I'm in. And yeah, I have to actually just keep on going, bro. I just I think is I want to make the right decision, bro, but it's not going. It's not. It's going to be It's going to be like at the end when I look back and be like, oh my god. But after I go through this messy middle, bro, this messy middle to actually see. Yeah, so yeah, sad times, sad times indeed. But yeah, I actually made it to October 2024, so I can't complain, bro. I can't complain. There's a lot of blessings to be to be thankful for. Yeah. So, mm, yeah. So, yeah, I still have to work as well. So, that's basically it for this episode, bro. Thank you for listening. I look forward for the next episode. I have a lot of things a lot of episodes. I just actually find the time to actually do it. Find the time to actually do it. Yeah. hmm Yeah. All right. Thank you for listening. I look forward for the next episode.
Well, this is the end of the episode. Thanks for watching and look forward for the next episode. To support this podcast, go to anchor.fm/cssb/support or become a sponsor for this episode. If you have a product that you want to have more exposure, DM me on the Instagram page Reframing Mindset Podcast or on Twitter at ReframingP. Either way would help. Thank you regardless for listening, and here's a preview for the next episode.